Okay, this is 2012, and the film is called Robot and Frank, and it's a science fiction film. Well, no, it's not really science fiction. I mean, yes, it has a robot in it, and it is in the near future, but it's not really science fiction. It's really about something else a lot more human. Frank Weld, played by Frank Langella, is retired, and he's in his 70s. He's crabby, he's bored, he's living alone, and he's in the early stages of dementia or Alzheimer's. He also used to be a cat burglar. And in fact, he was a high-end jewel thief, and he's been in prison twice. But that was long in the past. Now, he just he basically just to keep himself from being bored, he steals soap from the local beauty shop because, well, he can, and that's what he does. He visits the library a couple of times a day, flirts a little bit with the librarian, Jennifer, played by Susan Sarandon. And, well, librarians in this day are an old-time occupation, and she's basically one of the last human librarians. And people don't have so many books on paper anymore. A young, obnoxious and pompous new consultant wants to phase out the paper books altogether. And Frank's daughter, played by Liv Tyler, she lives mostly overseas. She's on various missions and things. And they only converse by video calls until she returns later in the film. Now, Frank's son, who leads a busy life himself, also hasn't got much spare time for elderly relatives, but he does manage to see Frank weekends, but briefly. So Frank's son buys Frank a robot companion to help him. And the robot is supposed to provide care for him and also give him a routine to follow and activities to enhance cognition, such as gardening. Now, Frank doesn't warm to the idea of this robot being constantly present. He's irritated by it at best and doesn't trust it at all at worst. The robot, however, is thoroughly dedicated to serving and pleasing Frank. Now, after a while of getting used to the robot's presence without really engaging in it, or with it, also followed by an eventually fairly shallow exploration of what it might offer, Frank, by chance, realizes that the robot actually doesn't distinguish very well between what is and isn't legal. And so he tries a simple lock-picking exercise, which the robot succeeds at. And you can see where this is going. You know, he used to be a cat burglar. And so their first big job is to steal an antique copy of Don Quixote from the library. The robot is an immense help at this, the perfect partner in crime. And their next big job is to rob that young man and his couple, together with his partner, the one that's trying to rethink the library. And they're aiming for the jewellery because they're a fairly wealthy, yuppie couple. And at one point later in the film, Frank is in the library with Jennifer, and it turns out Jennifer was actually his ex-wife, only Frank had entirely forgotten that. The robot in this film was created by Alterian Inc., who also designed and built the robot helmets for Daft Punk, who until yesterday were a very prominent and famous electronic French music duo. So, Robot and Frank 2012, thank you very much. Have a good